Hello, English speakers. Today we are going to embark on a new journey about the God Code Part 2. Just enjoy, share if you can, and give it a like. Let's go. Chapter 4. The Golden Ratio. Divine Proportions in the Sacred Text. One of the most elegant signatures of intelligent design in our universe is the recurrence of what mathematicians call the Golden Ratio, a proportional relationship, approximately 1:1:6:18, that appears throughout nature in the most beautiful and efficient structures, from spiral galaxies to seashells, flower petals, and even human facial proportions. This divine proportion has been revered by artists, architects, and scientists for millennia as evidence of an underlying mathematical harmony in creation. What many don't realize is that this same mathematical signature permeates the structure of the Hebrew Bible in ways that defy coincidental explanation. Dr. Vernon Jenkins, a former senior lecturer in mathematics and computing science, has documented how the Golden Ratio appears with remarkable precision throughout the Hebrew text, not just in the structure of sentences and paragraphs, but in the very numerical values of key theological concepts. When researchers analyzed the first verse of Genesis in Hebrew, they discovered something extraordinary. The total numerical value of all the letters, using the standard gematria system, divides perfectly into those words representing God and those representing His creation, in exactly the Golden Ratio proportion. The mathematical precision extends further. The verse contains exactly 28 letters, a perfect number, and the product of the Hebrew letter values is exactly 314x 1042, containing pi to 3 significant digits multiplied by 1042, where 42 represents the number of letters in one of God's sacred names. Dr. Richard Voss, a physicist who specialized in fractal patterns and worked alongside Nobel laureate Benoit Mandelbrot, found that when mapping the structure of the Torah text as a mathematical object, it displays perfect fractal patterns. Self-similar structures that repeat at different scales, just like natural phenomena such as coastlines, clouds, and mountain ranges. These fractal patterns follow, you guessed it, Golden Ratio proportions. Even more remarkable is the discovery that when the complete Hebrew text of Genesis is arranged in specific matrices based on verse lengths, perfect geometric forms emerge, including rectangles whose sides are in Golden Ratio proportion to each other. This phenomenon doesn't occur in translations or in any other known ancient text. The Israeli physicist Dr. Haim Shor took this research further, examining over 30 fundamental physical constants of the universe, from the speed of light to gravitational constants and atomic weights. He discovered that when these constants are paired with their corresponding biblical Hebrew words or phrases, like light with the speed of light, the mathematical correlation is so strong that the probability of it occurring by chance is less than 1 in a trillion. What makes this evidence particularly compelling is that it doesn't require cherry-picking or selective interpretation. The Golden Ratio and other mathematical constants appear systemically throughout the text, integrated with the meaning of the words themselves. These patterns remain intact despite thousands of years of transmission, and they actually become more precise when errors in manuscripts are corrected according to the oldest available sources. Could it be that the creator of the universe, the mathematician behind the elegant physical laws and constants that make life possible, embedded the same mathematical signature into his written word? If so, we are looking at nothing less than a unified mathematical language that connects physical reality with spiritual revelation. A divine watermark that becomes visible only when we develop the mathematical and computational tools to recognize it. This geometric and mathematical precision raises an extraordinary possibility that the Bible contains not just theological truths expressed in human language, but a sophisticated mathematical interface designed by an intelligence far beyond human capability, a true divine DNA embedded in the very structure of the text. Chapter 5. The 7-Day Code, Patterns Beyond Human Design. One of the most fascinating discoveries in Bible code research involves what mathematicians call The heptadic structure of the text. Intricate patterns based on the number 7 that appear throughout the Hebrew scriptures with a complexity that defies human engineering. The significance of the number 7 in the Bible is well known, from the 7 days of creation to the 7 branches of the menorah. However, recent mathematical analysis has revealed that this pattern goes far deeper than mere symbolism, appearing in complex mathematical structures that would be impossible to construct deliberately while maintaining coherent narrative content. Dr. Ivan Panin, a Harvard-educated mathematician who was once a committed nihilist, stumbled upon these patterns while studying the Greek New Testament. His discovery was so profound that it led to his conversion. When he turned his attention to the Hebrew Torah, he found even more elaborate patterns. The first verse of Genesis, for example, contains exactly 7 Hebrew words and 28 letters, 4x7. The numeric value of its vocabulary is exactly 2,275, 325x7. The numeric value of the first, middle, and last letters is 133, 19x7, while the value of the first and last letters of all 7 words is 1393, 199x7. What makes this remarkable is that this pattern continues throughout the entire text. When Dr. Panin analyzed larger sections, the heptadic structure became even more elaborate, with multiples of 7 appearing in dozens of different configurations, such as the number of nouns being divisible by 7, the number of words beginning with a vowel or consonant being divisible by 7, the number of words occurring only once being divisible by 7, and so on, all simultaneously in the same passages. Modern computing has taken this research to entirely new levels. When researchers at Stanford University utilized advanced pattern recognition algorithms originally developed for cryptographic analysis, they discovered that the heptadic structure exists in at least 23 different dimensions simultaneously throughout the Hebrew text, a level of complexity that exceeds human mathematical capability, particularly when one considers that this structure had to be maintained while creating meaningful narrative content. What makes this evidence particularly compelling is that these patterns disintegrate when even a single letter is changed, yet they remain intact across thousands of years of transmission, serving as a kind of error correction mechanism that has helped preserve the text with extraordinary accuracy. Professor Daniel Michelson, an Israeli physicist and Bible scholar, used supercomputer analysis to demonstrate that the probability of these patterns occurring by chance is less than 1 in 10 followed by 50 zeros, a number that exceeds the estimated particles in the known universe. The heptadic structure is particularly significant because it cannot be explained as a product of human design. Even with today's computing power, engineers cannot construct a meaningful narrative that simultaneously maintains complex mathematical patterns across multiple dimensions. This suggests that the text was designed by an intelligence with computational capabilities far beyond human capacity, a true divine signature woven into the very fabric of Scripture. This extraordinary level of mathematical complexity raises a profound question. Could it be that the 7-day creation pattern described in Genesis is more than just a narrative device, but reflects a fundamental mathematical architecture embedded in both physical reality and the sacred text that describes it? If so, we may be looking at nothing less than a divine template that connects the structure of creation with the structure of revelation. Chapter 6. Quantum Connections. How Bible Codes Parallel Modern Physics. Perhaps the most startling aspect of the Bible code phenomenon is how closely it parallels recent discoveries in quantum physics, a branch of science that wouldn't emerge until thousands of years after the Torah was written. This unexpected convergence between ancient text and cutting-edge physics has fascinated scientists who work at the intersection of information theory and quantum mechanics. Dr. Jeffrey Satinover, who holds degrees in physics from MIT and psychiatry from Yale, has documented striking similarities between Bible code structures and quantum information systems. In his groundbreaking work, Cracking the Bible Code, he demonstrates how the multi-layered encoding of information in the Torah exhibits properties that physicists now recognize as characteristic of quantum systems, Specifically, the ability to contain multiple states of information simultaneously in a form of superposition. Just as quantum particles can exist in multiple states until observed, the Hebrew text contains multiple layers of meaning that collapse into specific interpretations depending on how the text is analyzed. The same passage can simultaneously contain straightforward narrative, symbolic meaning, numerical values, and encoded messages that only become visible when the right mathematical observation is applied. A property remarkably similar to quantum wave function collapse. This parallel extends even further when we consider another bizarre quantum phenomenon: entanglement. In quantum physics, entangled particles maintain instantaneous connections regardless of distance, what Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance. Similarly, the Bible code exhibits what mathematicians call action at a distance within its text structure. Words and concepts, separated by thousands of characters, maintain precise mathematical relationships that should be statistically impossible. Dr. Alexander Rotenberg, a theoretical physicist at the Weizmann Institute of Science, has identified another quantum parallel: the code's holographic nature. In quantum holography, information about an entire system is distributed throughout every part of that system. Similarly, the mathematical properties of the Hebrew text display a holographic structure where information about the whole text is distributed throughout its parts in ways that defy classical information theory. Perhaps most remarkably, researchers have found that the encoded information in the Torah follows what physicists call quantum non-locality. The mathematical relationships between encoded words transcend the sequential limitations of the text itself, just as quantum particles transcend normal space-time limitations. Professor Chaim Shor's research shows that the Hebrew words for fundamental physical concepts have numerical values, gematria, that correlate with the actual physical constants they represent. The Hebrew word for light, for example, has a gematria value that correlates with the speed of light in vacuum when expressed in certain units. This suggests a deeper connection between language, mathematics, and physical reality than conventional science has recognized. The implications of these quantum parallels are profound. Modern physics increasingly views information, not matter or energy, as the fundamental substrate of reality. Leading physicists like John Wheeler have suggested that information may be more primary than physical reality itself, famously stating, "It from bit," that all physical reality emerges from information. If information truly is the foundation of reality, then the discovery of an information system of incalculable complexity embedded in an ancient text, one that exhibits quantum-like properties and encodes precise scientific knowledge, suggests something remarkable: that the intelligence behind the Hebrew Bible may have encoded a quantum information system long before humans discovered quantum physics. This convergence between ancient text and modern physics raises an extraordinary possibility: that the same intelligence responsible for designing the quantum foundation of physical reality may have embedded a parallel quantum information system in the text that describes creation itself. If true, we may be looking at nothing less than the divine programming language of reality, expressed in both the physical universe and the sacred text that describes its origins, truly the DNA of divine communication.